We were last before the court on March 24th of 2023. At that time, the defendant entered a no contest plea to 2 counts. Count 1 was a charge of aggravated possession of drugs, a felony of the 3rd degree in violation of ORC 2925-11. Count 7 was a charge of possession of drugs, a felony of the 5th degree in violation of ORC 2925-11. Both charges had forfeiture specifications. At that time, he ordered several reports, pre-sentence investigation, a psychological evaluation. Those reports were not able to be completed as a result of the defendant's failure to report for all of the scheduled sessions. And we were originally scheduled for sentencing on Friday, April 21st of 2023. The defendant did not appear at the scheduled time. He was picked up as a result of a warrant that was issued, and today we are here for purposes of sentence. The defendant has 124 days to his credit. He is present with his counsel, Ms. Carroll.
What is this 875 case?
I believe it was consolidated. There were misdemeanors, Judge, that were consolidated into the...
When was it consolidated, do you know?
May I look at the docket on my phone, Judge?
Yeah. So I don't see it on my docket sheet. Oh, you know what? Never mind. December 21, it was consolidated. Okay. All right, Ms. Carroll?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. We would like to ask that Mr. Payne be placed on community control sanctions. While he did not complete the interview with the probation department, he did originally go over there and fill out the paperwork, so the court does have some background information about Mr. Payne, as well as previously from the screening from North Coast. And so with regards to him missing the appointments, he was having a lot of health issues, both physical and mental health. He did go to Tri-Point on 4/12 and was there until 4/13, where he was taken to Laurelwood, and he was there until the 20th. And so he had been dealing with a lot of those issues. His hands and feet were swollen, and he was having some issues that needed to be taken care of. He was released last Thursday, and although he was not here at the time of his hearing on Friday, he did show up shortly after. I believe he was taken into custody about half an hour after his hearing was scheduled for. So he did appear, although late. He had every intention of coming to court. He's served, I believe, 124 days so far on this case, and this case has been pending since August. And although he did have a relapse in the past few weeks, before that he was doing well. He did screen negative on his first screen over at probation. He was doing weekly check-ins with the probation department and was screening negative for them, and was showing up as ordered. He did do Concord Pines for a while he was out. But then after his child was born, he left Concord Pines to be with his child in the hospital for a few days. But he would like to return to Concord Pines and continue doing treatment. So he would like to ask the court to be placed on community control sanctions and go to Concord Pines for residential treatment. Thank you.
Mr. Payne, what do you want to tell me before I impose sentence in this case?
So she nailed it pretty well on the head right there. I was doing so well at Concord Pines, and I hate to think that I haven't established a good rapport with my community, but I know I've dealt with a lot of sheriffs around and a lot of the police officers around, and I have a good rapport with those people as they see me around praising God quite a bit. I try and think I'm a God-fearing man. I know I've made some serious mistakes, but my goals were to do the best I can, and I would like to be able to head towards those goals. I know I can get into Concord Pines or at least Laurelwood by the end of the day. I mean, like literally that fast, I could be in rehab. I would like to be in rehab because I'm losing my family. I'm losing my mind. My body's dying.
What medication did Signature prescribe for you?
They put me on Invega and Neurontin.
Okay.
I just started the Invega after going to Laurelwood when my liver gave out recently And that's the first mental medication I've actually been on.
All right, why did you stop using it?
I didn't. I'm in
Well-
the hospital.
Okay, but
I just got put on it at Laurelwood. Wasn't on. I was on it when I was
Well,
picked up and I came in.
when did Signature prescribe it?
I just picked up the prescription from them on the 20th,
All right, well, when were you at, when did you start with Signature?
7 years ago. I've been with Signature.
All right, and when did they put you on medication?
I've been taking the Neurontin that they've had me on the entire time.
Okay, so then your problem is you mix it with other stuff.
Correct.
Most notably meth and marijuana, so it
Correct.
doesn't do any good. So why do you keep doing that?
Because I thought I was helping improve things in my life.
Okay.
Because I
But-
was
but
lying
this
to
is-
myself.
This has been going on
Yeah.
for 20 years,
Yeah.
right? This same stuff, right?
Similar.
Right.
I have stopped selling drugs though.
What?
I stopped selling drugs. Like when
Okay.
I was 19, I had charged for selling drugs. I don't do that anymore. I don't hurt people. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I use
Okay.
them, but I wasn't abusing them.
All right,
At least
well,
that's what I was lying to myself about. You know, that's what I was trying to tell myself anyway. And when it really boils down to it, my best position was when the first time I'd ever been in an in-treatment rehab for a long-term treatment was at Concord Pines, and I should not have left even to see my son be born. And I felt like I'd already missed one son. I didn't want to miss another birth.
well, but this problem is you keep doing stuff that keeps landing you here, right? You keep doing that stuff. And nobody can stop you from doing that stuff because you keep doing it.
No, that's
Me-
why I chose to go to rehab. That's why I was doing a good program for a while, and being out on the street doesn't really help because it's everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So
The reality is,
yeah,
is that you've got a number of criminal convictions. You've been to prison a couple times at least.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And the problem is that you keep going back to the same habits. Now, I can't change that, okay? Nobody else can change that. Probation doesn't do any good if you don't take advantage of it. And you've
You're right.
had, in the past several years, plenty of opportunities that you haven't taken advantage of. And that's completely up to you.
Your Honor, if you give me an opportunity to do probation, I can tell you one thing. I just had a new baby. I've got two more that are both homeless, and it's because of my
When?
lack of
When?
my lack of adulthood.
When did you have a baby?
4 months ago.
Okay.
Well, that's why I left Concord Pines.
All right.
Was to see the baby be born and stay with the mother for the few days in the hospital. I shouldn't have, and it sucks to say that, but I mean, it would have been more.
All right, so listen. So you saw the baby. Why didn't you get back?
They wouldn't let me at the time.
Okay.
They had actually kicked me out at the time to stay in the hospital for that. Otherwise, I would have. That's what I tried to beg them to do, and now 3 months later is a different position, because now I can actually go back into Concord Pines and I could do a long-term treatment facility again while on probation.
Except when you got out, you kept doing the meth, right?
No, it wasn't that I was doing it all the time. I'm not going to say I didn't slip and have a
What?
fall.
Well, about a week and a half ago,
Yeah.
I left here at about 4:30
Mm.
and saw you standing in front of the jail,
Mm.
hooting and hollering, waving a blanket around.
Yeah, I do that anyway, though.
I know, but what are you doing?
I was praising God. It's kind of like I rap and I do entertainment. It's called Pastor Payne's Holy Savage. It's like that's kind of like the name that I made for myself. So like, I took things and turned them into coping skills. So I take a blanket and I sweat. It's exercise. I actually make figure eights and I do it in the sunshine. So that's.
See,
It seems strange. I know.
What
it
it
does.
is strange.
It is strange.
And
It
what
is strange.
and what you do, what maybe you ought to go down to the park down here where there's less people, because what you do is you cause a lot of concern to a lot of people. Okay, because your tendency is once you're challenged on something like that, then you kind of get physical.
No.
Well, yeah, that's why you're here. Okay, so you're not you're a pretty strong guy, all right?
Yeah, but I mean, like when the officer said, "Hey, can you move away from here?" I had no problem. Yes, sir. How you doing, sheriff? And I had moved on. I do. That's why, like I said, I have a good rapport with the police because they know me. Hey, it's just Steven, work it out, because that's part of my exercise. Like, I mean, so I try and do it in designated spots. Like I do it at the Salvation Army, and I do it usually at the library or right by the church. Over here, I wasn't usually over there. That was one particular day that I was just in the sunlight, and that's when the sheriffs came out and they asked me, actually, could you just like not do this on the property? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. I walked away. So I mean, I always cooperate when the police come. I mean, when the situation arose for this situation, I was trying to cooperate as much as I can. I mean, I was putting my stuff in the bag. I understand that they probably thought I was doing something stupid, like getting a weapon or something like that, because I kept going back to my bag. I mean, I understand that everybody made mistakes on that day. It was not just myself. I was trying to be fully cooperative and always respectful of the police force. Always. You can ask any officer in the city.
Well, you weren't on this occasion.
On that day?
On this case.
I was cooperating with that gentleman. I was putting my stuff in a book bag.
I mean,
like you said in the
we
report.
sat here together and watched
Yeah.
that video, right?
I mean, at first I thought I felt I had the right to be where I was at, and that's maybe my worst problem is I felt like I could do whatever I wanted whenever I wanted to, and that's not fair. I scared people. That's why they gave me a designated protesting spot. I was abusing the rights and constitutional rights that I had. Yeah, I was out of the range. Yeah, I was out of the way. I wasn't blocking the path. But I'm still startling people because it's so different. And
you're going to continue to startle people because you got two things going on here. Your mental illness
right.
and your illicit drug use, which when you combine the two is an absolute disaster, which
yes,
is
sir.
never going to change until you decide it's going to change.
I went to Signature Health to reevaluate some new things after having gotten out of Lowerwood. That's when they ran the new Invega. That's when I rescheduled all my appointments. That's when I really attempted to try and make a bigger change. And if you give me opportunity, I'll make the drug change too.
You've been to a lot of places throughout the years, right?
I've never been in an actual inpatient rehab other than Concord Pines, like to stay long-term rehab. I've never had an opportunity to do so, and I really, really appreciate at least just one shot. I mean, if I fail even one dirty urine and you send me to prison and max me out, you know, is it really going to hurt anybody other than me?
Well, I don't know.
I promise I'm not a violent person.
That's you've tended to show that you are violent.
I mean, I ran from sheriffs they kept tasing me to a
fought
cop.
And you fought him.
I didn't fight him. I ran from them to a cop and begged him to stop. It's on video. All you hear is stop, stop, please stop, stop, stop.
You fought him, then you ran from him, and then you were encountered in the street by the Painesville police officer, and you fought with him until they could get you under control.
That's not what
I
happened.
watched it.
The video, sir, I went right straight to the officer and
watched
asked him to stop. I got down on my hands and knees immediately. I swear to God, on everything. We watched it. Sir, as soon as, that's what happened. Is it not, ma'am? I swear to God, that's what happened.
Okay.
I ran from him to him for protection from them. That's what happened, sir. I promise you that's what happened. I mean, but I don't like to fight police. I don't want to fight police. I just want to get sober. I want to be a better person for my community. I want to have
That's great.
an opportunity for my life.
Those are great goals.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But
I'm trying not to scare people. I'm trying to just do the best I can possibly do to change things in my life. And I know I failed and I got high. I apologize for that, sir. And if you give me an opportunity, I won't make that mistake again.
Well, a couple times ago, you were at NeoCap. So why didn't that work?
That didn't work because they allowed sexual misconduct and religiously persecuted me for 3 multiple weeks, which I had in detailed records for and took to the Ohio State Supreme Court where I civilly sued them. And then I was beaten 3 times in a week, twice at a church, and then lastly by police officers, Your Honor.
In NeoCap.
Sir, when I left that place, I came here and told Judge Condon what was happening. He called me a delusional liar, told me I'd made up the whole story, doubled my time and put me in prison. So I sued Judge Condon. I sued NeoCap owners. And then I was harassed and targeted on these streets for 2 years.
By who?
Police and sheriffs, which turned out, the police now we have a good rapport with, and the sheriffs, lastly, after being attacked at the St. Mary's and being attacked at Salvation Army, all within 1 week, 4 days short of
Attacked
having.
by who? Who at St. Mary's attacked you?
There's a younger gentleman that I didn't know that's not around anymore, and a younger gentleman at the other place that's not around anymore. My personal opinion, which I cannot verify, was that there are people that were used to do those attacks on purpose. Because 4 days short of the attack, lastly by police officers, I had to have a certificate of service, and people would believe me more if I had been sober. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that nobody really believes me when I say these things is because I'm not sober. And had I stayed sober...
So there's good reason they don't believe you when you say those
absolutely,
things, right?
because I wasn't sober. You're right. And, the basis of my examinations are all askewed because my perception is askewed.
Okay. And your perception is skewed
Yeah.
because
Because I was
you've got mental health problems and you're eating meth.
Well, when I was at NeoCap, that wasn't the situation, sir. Like, this was 3 weeks of detailed, documented.
Okay, forget NeoCap for a minute.
Okay, but it's just
Okay.
that's the only long-term rehab I've had.
Okay, but that was what, 3-4 years ago, something?
Yeah,
like that?
and again, I did not finish it.
What about the previous 20 years?
The previous 20 years? I mean, sir, I've only had 2 felonies. One was just recently, and that was the one at NeoCap, and then this one 20 years ago. Like I said, I stopped selling drugs. I don't sell drugs anymore. I have a long history of possessions, but they're not felonies. You know what I'm saying? I don't sell drugs. I don't have any violent crimes.
But it's not okay to possess the stuff.
No, I agree. It's not okay to do this stuff. It's killing me.
Inevitably, when you possess the stuff, you use the stuff, right?
Yeah,
Or otherwise, you wouldn't be possessing it.
exactly. Yes, sir. Now, I've had a lot of injuries in my life. A lot of it dealt with pain. I was a heroin addict for 10 years, and I've been off heroin for 3.5. Whether...
So tell me then, what's the fascination with the meth?
Well, the speed made it so that I was in less pain. I could stay moving, and I could stay more in control of my mind. It's like Adderall, basically. I'm ADHD, so for me, I was eating it as medication. I wasn't using needles. I was eating it.
Well, what's the difference? If it gets in your system, it gets in your system, right?
Well, the difference is it's like one variable away from being Vyvanse or Adderall prescribed to me. And
How do you know all that?
Because I studied it. I researched it.
Why are you studying that kind of crap?
Well, honestly, because I have ADHD, sir, and I wanted to know why I keep having to go through these situations, why my mind gets so scattered.
Okay.
Because I have mental health problems, honestly.
I know. So
My mental health issue.
So why don't you treat the mental health issues?
I would like to.
I know, but why haven't you?
I was trying.
Well, you weren't trying very hard.
I was attending my appointments and
What-
stuff, and they just put me on a new medication. Like, I mean, the medication I was refusing mental medications for a while. At Signature, all I would take was Neurontin, which is for anxiety and for my neuropathy. So I had stopped taking other medications for my mental health issues because I thought I was better. Honestly, I thought I was better, and then I caught these charges, and then here I am stuck in the same situation.
Right.
And
Of your own doing.
not saying it's not, sir. Had I not been on that corner being a nuisance, and that's what I was doing, I wouldn't have been in that position.
That's not so much the problem. The problem is that you have this habit of going places and becoming a nuisance, right?
You're right.
Okay.
I agree.
So it happened in front of the administration building.
Yeah, it did.
And from what you're telling me, it happened in front of St. Mary's. Happened by
No, I was attacked then.
But well, listen,
Phys-
it happened by Salvation Army.
Yes.
It happened in front of the jail a week and a half ago.
Yes.
Right? So you put yourself in the position of being a nuisance.
Correct.
And once you put yourself in that position, then you compound the problem by becoming physical like you did in front of the administration building. Unless you're gonna tell me you didn't, right?
I mean, I was putting my stuff in a book bag when an officer from behind tasered me and handcuffed me at the same time while I was compliant with the officer. That's why those charges were dropped.
The problem is you're reaching for something in the bag.
I
And
wasn't.
They don't
I was
have the
putting stuff
slightest
in the bag.
idea what you're reaching for.
That I get. It was a mistake on their part. I was putting stuff in the bag because he told me to put my stuff in the bag.
All right?
I get that. He made a mistake. He thought I was doing something. I wasn't. That was a mistake.
Do you ever have access to news?
Yeah.
How do you get access to it?
My phone.
So in the last 3 years or more, but specifically in the last 3 years, isn't there a lot of information out there about cops getting shot?
Sir, I'm not saying that them thinking I was doing something in that favor was wrong.
Okay.
I get what they did and I get why they did it. They
Okay.
thought I was going for a weapon. They saw me as a threat. Even though I was compliant.
Isn't that a reasonable reaction on their part?
Yes, that's why I didn't sue.
So the ultimate question is, when are you going to knock this shit off?
Sir, you give me one shot right now, I promise you I'll knock it off right now. That's all I'm asking. You give me one shot. If not, I go to prison on a whatever. I'm not going anywhere either way. We know I'm not.
You know, we're sitting in.
I know. Debating.
Before we all came out here, and you're sitting here by yourself, talking to this nice deputy,
Mm-hmm.
very nice man.
Yes, he is.
Okay. We were talking about this very thing in there, and Miss Carroll said, which is a good observation, that sending you to prison's not going to help you, right? Okay.
It would.
And I said, didn't I say, you're right, it's not going to help him. Didn't I say that?
You did.
Okay. So I'm under no illusion that the prisons do anything but keep certain people away from society.
Right.
Okay? Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay? Because of the inability or the desire, quite frankly, of the Department of Corrections to do anything worthwhile, and most notably, they'll feed you all the drugs you need in prison because that's what they do, okay? Knowingly.
Right.
Okay? It's not like a mystery that stuff goes on. They know what's going on. They just won't do anything to stop it. So I'm under no illusion that prison is going to do anything to help you in the long run. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. But what it does is keeps you away from people and temporarily keeps you from causing a problem. That's what it does. That's the only thing it does. So if you go to prison, you come out, you're going to be in the same position you're in today. Maybe worse, because
Right.
you'll be eating all the meth you want to eat when you're in prison, right? You know that. You were there. You got what you wanted,
I
right?
didn't get high in prison.
Huh?
I didn't get high in prison. It's not safe. You could be killed.
Well,
But I mean, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought,
no, go ahead.
I agree with you. It doesn't give you anywhere to learn. It doesn't give you anywhere to grow. It doesn't
Right.
give you anywhere to put your emphasis and your energy. That's why I was really happy at Concord Pines. They had yoga. They had food that was good, healthy food. We were up at 5:30 in the morning. I was
Right.
studying how to do things that were for my community that were much better than anything.
Where's the last place you worked?
I've been on disability for a long time, sir.
For what?
My kidneys.
Your kidney? What's wrong with your kidneys?
I had renal disease and kidney failure. I've had what's called rhabdomyolysis on 4 different occasions. I tend to dehydrate at a very fast pace.
Okay. And who diagnosed you with that?
I've been diagnosed with that since I was in the nursing home for 9 months.
When?
26, 14 years ago.
Okay.
They think that's why my liver just gave out 10 days ago also was because of dehydration. So I mean that, and I was sober when that happened. I was just in the sun doing my heavy praise, working out in the sunlight. So I've been sober, and I get dehydrated. I sweat very, very much, and I get so lost in my workouts that I forget to hydrate. That's why I had to stop roofing, because I would just work until I fell. That's why I had to stop landscaping, because I would just work until I fell. I'm a hard worker. Landscaping would have been my last job, I guess. And I try and really put my all into the things that I do. I just sometimes forget to turn off.
So so where are you going to be long term?
Long term, I'm Lake County-ish. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but doing what? I mean,
Honestly,
obviously, hanging out on the street.
I like to preach, honestly. I'm very well versed. I've studied the Bible and the Quran and also the Hebrew scriptures.
But
I'd like to go back to college. To be honest with you, I'd like to go back into college.
but walking around the street
Isn't college.
preaching, most people, whether you agree with it or not, most people don't want to hear it.
I agree. I have to absolutely agree. That's why I kind of
That's why, one reason all these churches exist is because if people want to hear preaching, they want to go to a church and hear it.
Yeah.
They don't want to be walking down the sidewalk. Whether you think it's right or it's wrong.
No, I think
They
you're right.
don't want to be
I do, I
walking
think
down the
you're right.
sidewalk listening to people preach.
Well, I don't so much preach on the sidewalk. It was more like where I just hung out and worked so that people would know where to find me when they needed somebody to help them.
I mean,
I have a
when
lot.
I'm at home, and I see the Jehovah's Witnesses walking
I
down the street.
knew that was where that was going.
okay,
I'm sorry.
I won't answer the door because I don't have any interest in that. Okay?
Right.
And that's how most people are.
Agreed.
Whether you like that or not, whether you agree with that or not, that's
No,
how most people are.
I agree. That's why I was trying to create some interest, honestly.
All right, is there anything else you want to tell me?
Sir, if you give me a chance, I promise you I will not go get high. I'll go straight into rehab. And I'd really just love to make a good try at a long-term rehab and see if I can really change things.
Do you understand the promises don't mean anything?
Worst case scenario, I end up in prison anyway.
Well,
don't
that's
hurt.
always the scenario, right?
That's worst case for everybody, because then it's worst
Right.
case for me and everybody. You know, I mean, I'd like to really just give one opportunity to go be in a long-term rehab and see if I can't pull this out of a hat.
Your promises don't mean anything, right? To me, they don't mean anything.
I'm saying I'll do my best, just like when I do at work. I'll put it into it like it's a job, and I'll go as hard as I possibly can. I know you don't understand. You haven't seen me work, but I mean, when I work hard. Some of these guys have seen me work out around town. I work. I'm saying I sweat, and I will put in the work if you give me a chance to direct it in the right direction.
Work to accomplish what?
Sobriety, mental health, stability,
All right.
college, which is really where I need to go.
Ms. Naroda?
Thank you, Judge. Judge, after reviewing Mr. Payne's record and looking at the factors set forth in 292912B through E, it's the state's position that the defendant is not amenable to community control sanctions. The focus of the state's recommendation is the recidivism factors set forth in 292912D. Specifically, he has a history of criminal convictions. Judge, he has 4 prior felony listed convictions. He's been to prison, most recently in 2020, or I don't know if that's his first prison commit, but he has been to prison.
I was 1 in 04 out of Portage.
And he clearly has not responded favorably to sanctions previously imposed. Again, referencing the 2020 conviction, he ended up in prison as a result of a negative discharge from NeoCap. And he certainly shows a pattern of alcohol and drug use that today is the first time it's been acknowledged. In fact, Judge, he was ordered to report weekly and be randomly screened, and his last report was March 28th. As suspected, he had been using, and by his own admission, And as a result of that, he didn't complete the pre-sentence investigation reports and brought in someone else's urine when he was arrested. So it's the state's position, based on his behavior, his past record, he is not amenable to community control sanction, and we would ask the court to impose a prison sentence, Judge.
What's with this criminal mischief case, December of 21 in Eastlake?
I was doing the show like I usually do
You
here.
just mean
What?
that, like,
Oh,
it's still pending, Your Honor.
yeah.
What is it? What
That's-
happened?
somebody said that I doing my thing, just waving my.
What were you
thing.
doing in Eastlake?
Luke grew up in Eastlake. I was just in Eastlake at the time.
Where were you doing your mischief?
On the corner by Circle K. In the same areas, roughly where I was
Just
doing some work.
the hooting and hollering stuff you were doing out here?
Yes, yes. And somebody said that I accidentally hit their car with something that I didn't hit their car. Actually, I showed the officers. I said it was only a foot long. I couldn't possibly have hit their car. It was all the way over here.
Were you was there a hearing that took place on April 11th? Do you know anything about that, Ms. Carroll?
I don't know anything about. Oh yes, April 11th. I do believe he missed a court date in Willoughby Municipal Court, and
Yes.
then he was informed that day by his
Right.
attorney.
And I
And
talked to the attorney. That's when I went to Lower
The
Wood.
what?
yes, I'm not sure what happened after that, but I do believe that they issued a
It's-
warrant.
No, they didn't.
They didn't.
They
issue a
didn't.
warrant.
No, I just checked it. It's still pending. So they're basically. I did not hit anybody's car, and it's a small misdemeanor, and I am on bond with that as well. So what they're going to do with that is basically just have to retry that case until it's finished. I talked to the public defender, let him know where I was at. I had sent paperwork where I was at when I was at Lowerwood to her, which she also gave to that public defender, so they've been informed where I was at, where I was going.
What are the elements of criminal mischief?
That I don't know off the top of my head.
Honestly, I did not commit it, and I was going to take it to trial like I did the stuff out, like when I was protesting out in the.
You know, an M3 criminal mischief is the least of your problems.
I know it is.
Okay?
You're right.
Because, I mean, do whatever you want with your case, because that's your right to do it, okay? But this focus, do you know?
Judge 290907A is no person shall, without privilege to do so, knowingly move, deface, damage, destroy, or otherwise improperly tamper with either of the following: the property of another, or real property, or residential real property.
Okay. Well, as I was saying, you can do whatever you want because you have that right to do whatever you want with that case. But that's the least of your
I know.
problems. I mean, if you ever took a step back and looked at what you've been doing for the better part of 22 years, okay, that's something you might realize, all right? Because if you do what you're supposed to do to help yourself, okay, not help society, help yourself, then you wouldn't be running into this crap. You just wouldn't. The problem is you keep doing it. And the more you do it, the worse it gets, okay? Because Enloe sent you to prison in 04, right?
Yeah.
Condon sent you to prison in 20
Yeah.
on 2 cases. And then here we are again. And the reason is because you won't take a step back and look at what you're doing and try to correct it. Maybe you do for a period of time, and then something happens. Maybe you stop taking your meds, okay? Maybe that's it. Maybe you start mixing it with the meth and the marijuana, okay, and then it doesn't work. But whatever it is, you keep doing the same thing over and over again. So the question is, at 40 years old, because you just turned 40, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're ever going to correct it. Now, you're an intelligent person.
Yeah.
Okay? You're not some dummy who doesn't have the ability to figure things out. Okay? The problem is you've taken the knowledge that you have and channeled it in the wrong places. Now, whether that ever changes and you do what you're supposed to do is not on anybody except you. What I do doesn't matter. I can put you on probation, I can send you to prison, and if you're on probation, you're going to do whatever you want. If you go to prison, you're going to do whatever you want. When you get out, you're going to do whatever you want, because that's what you do. And I don't know, if you use your intelligence to take a look at what your activities have gotten you, then maybe you change it. I don't know. I don't have the slightest idea whether you're ever going to do anything different. And anybody who tells you that they know that you're ever going to change or not change is lying to you. Okay? Because nobody controls you but you. I don't control you. You're sitting here with handcuffs on, right?
Yeah.
But I don't control you.
Right.
Because you just bide your time and then do whatever you want to do. Because you're in control. And nobody's to blame for you sitting here like this right now. Deputy Samick is not to blame for you sitting here right now. You're to blame for you sitting here right now. Anything further, Ms. Carroll?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, actually, yes, just the affidavit of indigency. We would ask that any mandatory fine be suspended, and that will be filed immediately after the hearing.
Okay. All right, I've reviewed the pre-sentence report, which is almost complete. The only thing missing was your interview as to what occurred with regard to this incident. And I've reviewed the information contained in the Dr. Rinsberg report, which included information that goes back to when the competency was filed and that report was completed. I have listened to you, Mr. Payne, as to what you had to say. I've listened to Ms. Carroll and Ms. Naroda. And I've considered what we talked about in chambers before we came out here with Ms. Crook from the probation department. So I've considered all the information here and the entire record. You know, the PSR, as Ms. Naroda has indicated, details your criminal past. I have also considered all aspects of 29-29-11, 29-29-12, and 29-29-13. So this offense that brought you here today, back from August of last year, was something that you completely controlled and didn't have to occur. Okay? I understand that you've had in the past problems with police, okay, and you perceive this as Deputy Samick coming to attack you or to hassle you, okay? But that's your perception of things. Now, that was easily diffused by you just listening to what he said and going on your way, but you chose not to do that, okay? So the incident itself was no big deal.
That's what I was doing, sir. I was putting myself
Okay.
in the book bag like he told me to do.
All
I
right?
swear to
Well,
God, man. I don't
yeah, well-
know what else to say to that, because honestly, sir, I did what that man told me to do.
Okay. And so you compounded this problem by doing what you did.
Cooperate.
No, you didn't cooperate.
I did. I was putting myself in the bag like he told me to do. What do you-
You didn't cooperate.
Yeah, I did. And he knows it.
Well, we had a hearing on this, didn't we?
Yeah, and it's on video. The two officers that came
Right.
in said it was saying F this and F that are on video, not saying no F's, no F that's. All you hear is please stop, stop, stop.
Well,
I
you-
mean, I have
you-
a video
you
that
mean-
proves
you-
that I was telling the truth.
Listen, you can fight that out in the Court of Appeals. if
I
you
know,
want.
I know. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be
Right.
disrespectful, but That wasn't a true statement. I
Listen.
was trying to cooperate, so I don't mean
I
to
don't-
disrespect. Let me shut up.
I don't perceive that as being disrespectful, okay? Okay, but you can fight out whether I was right or wrong in the Court of Appeals, and those three people can sit there and they can review what I did. They can either say I was right or I was wrong. But that's not the problem,
No, it's not.
okay? The
I'm the
problem
problem.
is,
I'm the problem.
that,
the problem. I started-
that you put yourself in that position.
You're right.
Okay?
You're right.
And here we are again.
You're right.
And the question that I keep asking you is whether that's ever going to change.
I would like it to.
Okay. And the solution to it ever changing, if it exists, lies with you and nobody else.
I agree.
Okay? So I've considered all that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on community control for 5 years. Okay? Now, I'll tell you that when I came out, I was going to give you probably an 18-month sentence, okay? But I'm looking at the offense, okay? And I'm trying to gauge whether you're ever going to change. And so you want a chance, I'll give you a chance, okay? But the penalty will be more severe if you come back, okay? Because there's 48 months hanging out there, right?
Yes, sir.
36 plus 12, right? We got a 3 and a 5, is that right?
That's correct, Judge.
That adds up to 48, right?
It
Okay.
does, Your Honor.
So that's a lot different than 18, okay?
Thank you.
Well, I hate when people thank me, because I haven't done you any favors, okay? I haven't done you a favor, okay? What I did was set you up with a bunch of rules that I'm going to tell you in a minute,
I know
and you're either going to comply or not, okay?
Yes, sir.
But once again, I don't control that,
Yes, sir.
okay? So you're on 5 years, okay? And you're going to serve 45 days in the jail. Well, how many, he's been in on this, how many since he got
5.
100 and what?
124, counting the 5 since Friday.
Okay. So you're gonna serve 169 with credit for 124. And 15 days from now, you go into the jail treatment program.
Okay.
And you're gonna complete it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then you're gonna get into either Concord, or what's the other one, Jamie?
Lake House.
Lake? Directly to there.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you do something that you're not supposed to do in jail treatment, like start arguing with people, start arguing with the folks who put the program on, or cause a ruckus and get thrown out, that's it. Okay, I don't want to hear the reasons, okay, because, you know, Bob Smith looked at you and winked at you or said something to you, okay? I don't want to hear it. I'm not gonna listen, okay? Then you're gonna go to Concord, you're gonna complete that, and you're gonna follow those recommendations. You're gonna continue with Signature, your treatment there for mental health issues, and actually you're gonna treat with them dually for mental health and for substance abuse, and you're gonna follow those recommendations. So whatever they tell you to do, assuming you're going to listen to them in the first place, okay? Whatever they tell you to do to deal with your mental health or your drug abuse problems, you're going to do, because that's part of what I'm telling you, okay? The only doctor you're going to see is the one at Signature. You see any other doctors?
No.
The only doctor you're going to see is Signature. You're only going to see one dentist, and your prescription medication comes from only one pharmacy. You're going to sign releases so probation can get your records. Jamie, who's his PO going to be?
That will be Jennifer Knopf.
Okay, so you don't know Jennifer, do you? Okay, if you give Jennifer one ass ache, then you're going to be back in here.
Yes, sir.
Very helpful person, very knowledgeable person. But I don't expect her to put up with any bullshit, okay? At all.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Crook, any other terms?
Just to take any medications prescribed, Your Honor.
Yes. Ms. Naroda?
Just the forfeiture of the drugs and any appellate rights that need to be advised.
Ms. Carroll, any other terms?
No, Your Honor. Well, the fine being suspended or waived.
Okay. You understand the terms?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the terms are designed to give you what you need to take advantage of those things, to deal with your issues, so you stop coming back here. As I said now probably a dozen times since we've been here, whether you do that or not is completely on you. If you don't do it, then Ms. Naroda files a motion to terminate. I terminate you 48 months. That's the alternative. And then I know that you're not out here a hooting and a hollering for about 3.5 years after you get credit for the time served. And then along with that, when you get out, you might be on post-release control for a couple of years under the parole authority, so you can have more people telling you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. If you don't listen to them, they could send you back to prison, up to 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. If your violation is a new felony, then whoever you're in front of, and if it's in Lake County, it's in front of me, you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for the violation. And that would be either 12 months or what you have under your post-release control, whichever is more. So at 40, you figure out how you want to keep living. The mandatory fine will be waived with the filing of the affidavit. The items subject to forfeiture are forfeited to the state, and the remaining counts are dismissed. Now, like we talked about before, you take issue with how I decided your case, and you can appeal that decision to the 11th District Court of Appeals. The public defender is appointed to represent you in that appeal, and you'll have access to any transcripts that you need to pursue that appeal. If you can't afford them, then you'll get them free of charge, and they'll file a timely notice of appeal so you can pursue that case. Okay. My only suggestion to you, that you've heard ad nauseum here, is that you start to focus on what you're doing and how you're going to correct what you're doing and how you're going to deal with where your situation is so you quit coming back here. Got it?
Yes, sir.